Is June 1st the right time for South African children to go back to school? As a parent, would I send my child back to school? How are teachers feeling about the June 1st reopening? Hi, and welcome to the Chaos Managed podcast. I'm Wayne Russell. Schools are ending the academic year in the US. Virtual graduations have been taking place. Students are out for the summer. Overall, new daily COVID cases are plateauing or declining in America. Most states are on the other side of their peak in COVID cases. In South Africa, schools are reopening. This coming Monday, June 1st, primary schools and high schools are opening their doors. In primary school, grade 7 students will return. In high school, grade 12 students will resume on-campus learning. New daily COVID cases are not declining or plateauing. They have been sharply rising in South Africa since May 8th. South Africa's COVID numbers are only projected to peak in September. With schools reopening in South Africa, they are in a way restarting the 2020 academic year. Academic years in South Africa begin in January and end in December. So students had about 2 months of school before schools closed in March. Since the middle of March, learning at home has been disorganized. Schools were ill prepared for such a crisis. Learning has been disrupted for many children. What was learnt in January and February has probably been forgotten. It seems that under immense pressure to save the 2020 academic year, students are being pushed back into school. The government cannot think of any other way for students to learn besides being back in a brick-and-mortar setting. Many are surprised that South African schools are reopening when daily COVID cases and deaths are on the rise and have not peaked yet. I've been watching how schools in China have been reopening. Their cases and deaths peaked back in February. Over the past 2.5 months, China's daily cases have sharply decreased. It was only after its peak and with very low daily cases for 2.5 months that schools in China began reopening. South Africa is about 3 months away from reaching its peak, let alone being months on the other side of it. What will next week look like in South Africa? If the past 2.5 months of disorganization are a predictor of what will take place next week, it seems that a lot of chaos will ensue. Even this week, it has been a challenge to get teachers back to campuses. Principals are running around trying to find the PPE, which was supposed to be delivered to schools. Teachers are afraid of what is to come. Too many questions are still up in the air. The South African government has mandated what the school's leadership team must do to reopen their schools, but are school leaders able to implement these mandates? Are they trained in crisis management? Do they have the necessary resources to support the mandates? If we answer no to some or all of these questions, how can parents and teachers feel safe with participating in in-person classes? In the rush to reopen, are we forgetting our most important calling as educators? The care of the child? These and many other questions are consuming the minds of parents and educators across South Africa. As a parent, would I send my child back to school on June 1st? I'm not a parent of a 7th or a 12th grader, so I'm not having to personally grapple with this question. I can only empathize with what these parents are feeling as they make this difficult decision. We received a survey from our children's school this week. The survey first asked us to indicate which grade our child is in. Then it asked if we would be sending our child back to school once it reopens. The only 2 answer choices were yes and no. Unfortunately, we could not choose either yes or no. I would have appreciated an answer choice such as maybe or unsure or let's wait and see, with a comment box to express what we feel needs to be done or what we feel the situation should look like to make us comfortable with sending our children back to school. If I were a 7th or a 12th grade parent whose student could go back to school on Monday, I would select no on the survey. I would select no for multiple reasons, including the fact that new daily COVID cases are sharply increasing. South Africa is on the wrong side of a steep mountain. Another reason I would say no is that there has been a general lack of organization since schools closed in March, at both the local school level and at the National Education Department level. When I was taking the survey, I remembered a phrase in the mission statement of my school back in Shanghai, China. This phrase has been permanently etched into my mind. The phrase found in the mission statement is, "entrusted to us by parents." It resonated with me when I first read it in 2013, and it resonates with me today. When we as parents send our children to a school, we are entrusting our children to the school. The school has the duty to care for our children for the entire time they are at school. We are entrusting the safety of our child to the school. Emotional and psychological safety, safety from injury and illness. As a school principal, I know that you cannot 100% guarantee that a child will not be injured at school or pick up an illness within the context of a school with hundreds of kids. But as a school principal, you do everything you can to keep children safe. And if you cannot do that, you put the brakes on whatever program or initiative or behavior is causing or will potentially cause injury or illness. Entrusted to us by parents. I created a large poster of this phrase and hung it on my principal office's wall. The large poster confronted me every time I walked back into the office. Having this phrase consistently on my mind helps frame many of my day-to-day decisions and long-term strategic decisions. Unfortunately, with the current rate of increased infection and with the disorganization of schools, I do not feel comfortable with entrusting my child to a South African school. Believe me, I want this feeling to change. I want to feel that I can entrust my children to a South African school. Within the school setting, safety always comes first. Show me a safe school, and I'll show you a happy parent. I cannot tell you how many parents judge a school based on its proactive or laissez-faire stance towards ensuring a safe learning environment. More than for its academic program, more than for its extramural activities, parents send their children to a certain school because it is a safe place for their child to learn. On Monday, will schools be safe places for grade 7 and grade 12 students? Time will certainly tell. It is, however, unfortunate that we are experimenting with the lives of our teachers and children. I pray all the PPE becomes available. I hope principals have plans on how to physically distance overcrowded classrooms, and I hope they know how to lead their teachers during a difficult crisis. To our listeners outside of South Africa, listeners in the United States, Australia, Hong Kong, China, and other countries, please pray for our political and educational leaders as they make this bold move to reopen not only the economy on Monday, but also schools. Pray for South African parents as they make one of the most difficult decisions they have had to make as a parent. And pray for the teachers across South Africa as they try to make sense of what lies ahead. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. I'm Wayne Russell, and this is Chaos Managed.